Hey guys, so today we're going to create this. Perfect. So to get started, I'm going to go over the assets that we use. So these assets will be the rural Australia pack. They will be the quarry pack right here and the Iceland pack. 1, 3, and 2, they all work. I believe 1 and 2 have the moss rocks, which is what I'm using. They'll all have some good stuff to make the little island. So I'll leave that up to you guys. I do believe I'm using either 1 or 3 though. And then the last one will be the European hornbeam, this one right here. Okay, I'm going to start here. So the first thing I did was create my camera. If you go up here to the top left and go down to cinematic, you can create your Cinecamera actor. And then what I did is I went into the settings, so clicked on the Cinecamera actor, and I made it DSLR, turned it on to universal zoom, and set it up. Clear. And the current focal length it's set to is 24. Once that was done, I kind of laid it a little low to the ground just so I can have it in a nice starting point for when I build everything around it. After that, I made these planes, right, with a cube. If you hold right here, click R, do on the X and Y, and then build out, you're basically going to get large panels. With those large panels, I basically just did a quick block out of the scene. So I have this, actually I'm going to delete you and just make them larger. So each of these scenes is just a nice block out of the wall. So this is going to be a wall right here, wall right here, and wall right here. So I'm going to quickly make this make more sense by enlarging everything and having it be a little clearer of a wall. Cool. So now that the entire scene is blocked out, what I did was I also added this Icelandic capture to it. So if you go into your content after you've uploaded everything, do material instance, I believe I added this one right here, the rock cliff, to kind of just give everything a nice background. I will actually redo one of these though, so you can see how I did it. Okay. So to go over this, I added these textures to the wall. When I put these textures on, they actually came out like this, where it's sideways. And I wanted to go up and down. So when I added my actual textures, if they don't cover the wall completely, they will make up. So what you do is you actually go into here, click on your material, go to the standard master material, go over here to the UV manipulations. If you check it out, it's just going to show you how albedo, everything's kind of going in here and then being put in. So what you want to change is anything near the text coordinate, because it's a texture coordinate, and that's really how you would change the rotation. So if you right click here and type in custom rotator, you can bring it up here. If you hold control or command click on PC, you would bring the UV into here and then take the rotate value out into here. And then if you hold S and click, we can call this the rotator, so this is a parameter value. And if you put the parameter value into the angle of rotation, you can now apply and save. Now that it's saved, if you click out and go back in, they'll have this little rotator corner. So let's zoom out a little so you can see it. And now I can actually rotate the texture. Now this looks good, but it's also a little too big. So if you go into tiling, you can also reduce the tiling a tad, or actually, sorry, increase it. So it kind of fits what you would expect for the size of the wall. And there you go. So now that the blocking of the actual scene and the textures are set up, we can try and handle the actual walls. So if you do Control Space, click on All, change your filter to static meshes. By the way, I'm using these filters right here because if you actually click on them by going in here, they'll pop up as quick ones. So if I do like say Datasmith, see Datasmith is now here. Cool. So go into static meshes and then make sure to use the 4K mesh, which would be this one. You can tell by looking at the path, the very first line. Now that you're here, you can click R and just make them large because they're all nice 4K. So you don't need to worry too much. And then really just place them on the walls. I'm mainly going to be using this one and this one. And by mainly, I mean that is all I'm going to be using. And I'm basically going to be pushing them together so they kind of mesh and create their own unique one each time. Cool. So I'm going to shoot through that. Cool. So one of the things you'll notice is there's a lot of blank walls, like this one, and a lot of blank areas. The reason that is because you always want to block for what is going to be in the scene. Don't do any extra work if you don't need to. If you want to be able to shoot the entire scene, then by all means, please go around and keep finishing these walls. But for the purposes of this specific tutorial and what I'm going to show you and what I made, I only really need these walls to be complete. But now that that's done, let's work on getting the roof. So this is going to be the same thing that we did with all the others where we blocked out all the different walls. I'm actually going to just copy one of these walls. So Command click, pull up. I'm going to turn you. And then let's make you a lot bigger. We only need the X and Y. Cool. So now that we got this giant roof here, I'm going to bring it down. I kind of want the cavern to feel nice and large. We might need to add more. I think I'm actually going to fill up the walls because I might want to tilt the camera up to see the rest. So let's actually fill out these walls so they're nice and complete. And then we can finish mapping our scene. So this is good enough to block everything out. So now to get us our little skylight. So now we're going to go over here, click on shapes and do a cylinder. I usually make this large and then let's drag over to where it needs to be. So click on the main one and make it a little larger just so you have a little more leeway when it comes to making sure that the skylight's perfect. This way you can move it around depending on what you need. And just so we get a little more light on our end, I'll put it right there. And then you can be right here. You actually seem a little too large. We can keep that in later. Okay, so click on you. So click on your cylinder, click on our plane, go over here to modeling, and then you can click on mesh bool, and then B minus A or A minus B, really whatever works, and then click accept. And now you have a nice little cutout for your sun. Now that that is done, we can go close the U, move the last object, clean everything up, and then go into our directional light. Did not mean to have 2 in there, and really just key it in. So this is our directional light. And I think that works. Cool. So now we can add in one more plane for the water. So go back out of this, go into shapes, do plane, hold R, and then all you need to do is make the X and Y gigantic. Pull it all the way down, put a little above, and then just scoot it on into our scene. And then we can kind of see how much space we got. Let's try and save as much because we kind of want large cavern walls. It just looks better that way. But once that's done, now you can go in here and go into content, go into your rural Australia, go into water, and then you're going to take the material instance and drag and drop. And now you have your water. So now that we have our water, let's begin. One, I want to make the bottom surface dark. So we can just go into here. That's into our content drawer. Make a new material. We can just make this floor. Enter, and then we can right click and do constant 3 vector. And we can plug it into base color. I don't necessarily want it to be black as much as I would like it to be a dark green. Okay. And then we can actually do a parameter value for roughness and just make sure that this one is set to 1. Just so it's rough, doesn't really move a lot. And we want to make sure that the surface underneath is staying nice and dark. Once that's done, we can then take our material and drop it on our landscape. Take our material and drop it on our landscape. Sometimes this doesn't work, sometimes it does. If not, you can just click on this, and then click on this little arrow, and it'll clear up the bottom. So now the bottom of the ground is all nice and green. Okay. So now that that is handled, we can add in our island and start working on the light. So to add in our island, we're going to go back into our content drawer, stick static mesh. And then for me, I'm looking for more of a mossy look. So it kind of makes sense for why it would be in the middle of water. So I kind of like this one. Also, remember there's 2K and 4K. So always use the 2K. And drag and drop, and don't be afraid to make it a little larger. We're going to bring it up to our surface. Bring it a little lower, and kind of just make our ground. add in our tree. So go into the horn beams. And then I kind of just want like one tiny skinny tree that just kind of fills the area just slightly, which is this one right here. Nice. Okay. So now that that is all done, we can add in some details and really correct the light, because just looking at this real quick, we can all tell that the light is atrocious. So we can fix that and start making things look nice. So the first step to fixing our light is going to be, let me just clean this up so it looks clean, is going to be a post-processing volume. So click on the little square, go down to volume, go to post-processing volume right here, add it, and then the first thing you're going to want to do is click on brightness, min and max. Actually, that is not the first thing you want to do. First thing you want to do is infinite, unbound, click, which now means this is affecting our entire scene. Go back to brightness, and then 0.25, 0.025. Let's actually just make this 1 and 1 to start off. There we go. So that is looking a lot better. Now you can make like little finishing touches to this to make it a little cleaner. I actually might move the camera starting point up a little. You can kind of see that this is sticking out up here, which we'll fix. So now that the light is semi-good, I would go through and kind of fix a lot of the little issues that we have going on here. Cool. So now that that's a little cleaner, you don't really see a lot of edges going on. Might fix this top piece, but in general, looks a lot better. So now we can go back into the lighting and kind of change our settings a little bit. First thing I definitely want to do is go down here and do volumetric fog. Add the fog in a little, just add some contrast. Let's do 0.2. Extinction scale, ooh, very high. I kind of like the light beam coming down, so we can do extinction scale around here, and then we can go up to fog density and probably keep this around 2.25. Oh, no, 0.25. Perfect. That way we get a nice little light beam coming down. The next thing that I kind of want to change is how this is faded. I kind of want to add some contrast in the background by adding that in. So I want this to be darker and then shine like a little oranger light. So we can bring you around. And then we can go up to here to lights and add in one spotlight. Now for the spotlight, we can point it towards the wall, move it much closer, across and down, and then I'm going to go over to the camera actor so we can see it. Oh, not pilot though. Stop piloting, but we do want to pin it. Cool. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is put this all the way up, which is the intensity, and the attenuation, which is going to be how strong it is. And I'm going to make it a horrible light so we can see what it's touching, where it's touching, and how it's touching it. Let's do red, since that will stand out most in our scene. So as you can see, it seems to be lighting up nothing. So this is always good, because a lot of times you'll just waste your time trying to figure it out. There we go. So it's very gentle light, which we don't necessarily want. We want this to be a lot stronger. So we can do, there we go. And by increasing it like that, no, not move the panel. We can now shine it right here. Let's do 1, 1, 2, 3. So it's a giant red light. And kind of move it back. Just to add some nice flare. And then just make it temperature-wise a lot more like a nice bright natural light back there. Perfect. Now, we can keep refining it by going back into our camera, going post-processing volume, and keep playing with the settings. So I'm going to go into gamma, turn on gamma, and kind of bring it down to 0.75 or 0.76 seems fine. And then I'm going to go into vignette, turn on the vignette intensity, just to add more of like a little darker flare. The gamma actually seems a little too much to me, so I'm going to go back and make it maybe 0.8. And then kind of keep playing around with the different lighting. The spotlight seems a little gentle now, so I'm actually going to increase you to maybe 20,000 and give it a darker red tone, so it kind of shows a little better. There you go. That way it has like a nice shine to it, and then I'll fix the background. Cool. I'm going to move on to the particle system. So particle systems, go into your contract drawer, go into Niagara system. I'm going to do from emitter, and I'm going to do fountain, add, finish, and then we can name this particles. Cool. And then open it up. Now, usually you want to fix it up in here, but unfortunately it's a little too small right now, so we can add some things. So first we're going to do drag. Drag can be up in the 0.5. We're okay with it kind of falling down. We can go into spawn rate and bring you down to like 5. And then shape location. We can do plane, and we can fix you later. But in the initialized particle, let's do 8 and 8. We want it to live a long time. And then we can actually change the color of our particles. We're going to do a nice little orange. And then we can actually change gravity off. Actually, let's keep gravity on, and let's increase our drag to like 5. There we go, because we want to simulate them falling nice and slow. Let's do 20. 15. Okay, let's try that out for now. Kill particles when lifetime has elapsed. No. So the particles are going to stay alive the entire time and slowly fall. And then I think we can also add in a curl force. Probably 2. The first one we can do just 1. And then let's do 0.5. Let's do 1 with you as well. Just to simulate some slight wind here. And then you can also go 1. Just add a little more movement to it, and then we can kind of play around with these, see how it works out. If you want to see how it moves faster before you actually change it, we can do this. Let's do 10 and 10. There we go. That works a little better. So we can do U on 10 as well. Perfect. And then go back to drag and change you to 15. And now we can compile, save, and put the particles in. Cool. And then I kind of want the particles to be just slightly less. So let's do 10. Okay, so we have emitter state with these parameters. Then we have spawn rate put to 10. We have initialized particle set to random, min to max 20 to 25 with a orangish color. And then I change the sprite size to uniform and 7. The shape location is a box plane, 5,000, 5,000 with a Z at 1. Velocity is how it came. Particle state is how it came. Gravity force how it came. Drag is set to 8. Scale color is how it came. Added a wind force, curl noise force, and then that is it. Compile and save. Perfect. So now the lighting is all set. The last bit is getting a little animation and any final touches that you care to add. So to get an animation started, you're going to go into cinematic. Actually, let's go up to here and do add level sequence. We can just call this, I don't know, cave. Oh my gosh, Eric. Cave tree sequence. Save. I hate how these things just stay open all the time. Cool. And then now in here, we're going to go to actor. We got a lot of actors. Cinema camera actor. And then we can go pilot it, go down to transform, and then go over here, and we can now move forward, way too forward. Now let's bring it back to square one, then bring it over here, and we can kind of go low as we look up at it. Perfect. And click here. And then now that will be its movement. I kind of don't like how it's turning as well. So let's kind of just move the starting point a little to the side here. Okay. I just wish it would go in a straight line. So let's now just cut you out, go right here, and then now we're literally just going to go forward, downward, and slightly up. Perfect. Cool. Now, there's one other issue with this is now that we have this Niagara falling, it starts at the second the video starts, which means what you're seeing right now isn't actually what's being seen. So when it starts, all this is going to be falling. It's not going to be around our scene. So if you want it to show up, what you can do is you can time it. So in this case, if you go back past 0, that should work, but it's not. You can actually go in here to track, and then do particles, add the particles in, and then track Niagara component, and then track Niagara system life cycle. So now it'll restart every single time you do it. Now you would think that if you say move this over here that the life cycle would already be started, but that is actually not the case, at least when I rendered it. If it works for you, amazing. But what I had to do was actually put this in and then move this all the way down here. Make sure that the life cycle continues. So when it finally reaches the scene that you want it to reach, which would be right here. So now you can play it, and it's starting to fall. And then the cut that I would have would start right here. So that's what it would be playing. So unfortunately, this took me a long time to render because of this issue. Also, if your timeline ever runs out, you can just push this across at this bottom right, and that will show you where you're at. I'm going to go over to 1000 just because I want it to be in full bloom when it's already started. So you can go all the way down here and right here. Cool. And then you can start playing that. So then it's going to be in full bloom. Actually, sorry, restart it. And then now you can watch it as it goes down. And then, unfortunately, there's no way to speed this up. But basically, you would have to render all of this and then just use the back end for when the Niagara is fully in bloom. If anyone knows a fix for this where the Niagara is already fully started, please tell me, because that would be awesome knowledge. But now this is where the Niagara fully is, where all the stuff is kind of falling around. And then we can nice and slowly pan in. And then if you want to change the speed, just push it out, kind of have fun with it, and fix any issues you find. Also, more is always better. So feel free to add more rocks in places where it starts or in the corners. Build out this back area and kind of try and make it your own. Sweet. So after making a few more changes, I'll show you the final product, which is right here. Well, awesome, guys. Like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments, and feel free to ask any questions as well. Cool. Bye.